This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. We could know more about the status of Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares' future by the end of the week. Sales, profits, and the company's stock price have dropped sharply this year. Tavares has also come under fire from dealers, the UAW, and the Italian government, and Stellantis' chairman publicly announced that it's actively looking for a replacement CEO 16 months before his contract expires. We said this would put enormous pressure on Tavares to get things turned around and wondered if he will even make it to 2026. But one way or another, it looks like changes are coming. Bloomberg reports that Tavares will meet with the board this week, where he's expected to propose a big management shakeup, possibly including finance teams, regional heads, and brand executives. But the board is also expected to discuss Tavares' future with the company. So it's possible this swings in any direction, but we should have a clearer picture soon. Earlier this year, General Motors announced plans to relocate its headquarters to a new building in downtown Detroit. And Stellantis could also be on the move from its North American headquarters in suburban Detroit. Crain's Business Detroit reports that Stellantis is in talks with Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer about keeping its headquarters in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Whitmer says she has spoken frequently with CEO Carlos Tavares and that it's a top priority for her administration. Stellantis said it appreciates the partnership with the governor, but it had no further comment at this time. Like GM, Stellantis is looking for a new location because the number of employees working at its headquarters has dwindled significantly since the pandemic. So there's a lot of empty office space. More bad news for Fisker. Despite already announcing its bankruptcy, the company keeps running into issues, which mostly seem self-inflicted. Not long ago, it looked like Fisker had caught a break when rental company American Lease bought over 3,000 Ocean SUVs, which cleared out most of its remaining inventory. American Lease paid tens of millions of dollars for those vehicles, but said that it was just informed that it can't port or transfer each vehicle's information from Fisker's servers. In other words, once it goes fully under and all the lights are turned off, Ocean SUVs will no longer be connected to the cloud and won't get OTA updates, and remote access and diagnostics will not be available. So, American Lease doesn't want them anymore. It says it doesn't know, though, if Fisker knew about this before. But since it already paid for those vehicles, we have a feeling that's what prompted the new SEC investigation into Fisker. I've got to imagine existing Ocean owners are probably feeling or will feel the same way as American Lease does. Automakers have made significant progress improving seatbelt reminders, according to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, or IIHS. It began rating the feature in 2022, and in that first year, only 17% of new vehicles tested earned a good rating, while 65% were rated marginal or poor. But just 2 years later, those numbers have flipped. The IIHS says 62% of new vehicles that it has rated so far earn good ratings, while just 24% were marginal or poor. To earn a good rating, vehicles must have an audible reminder that lasts at least 90 seconds for unbuckled front seat passengers and 30 seconds for back seat passengers, along with a visual warning. Currently, federal regulations only require an audible warning for 4 to 8 seconds and a visual warning for 60 seconds. The IIHS says if its standards were adopted, it would increase seatbelt usage by 30% and save 1,600 lives a year.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
For the first time ever, General Motors sold more electrified vehicles in China than gas-powered ones. GM sold 224,000 BEVs and plug-ins, accounting for 53% of its deliveries in China in the third quarter. That's also a 60% gain compared to a year ago. But while its electric vehicle sales were strong, GM's overall sales in Q3 dropped 19% to 426,000 units. And more than 3/4 of those sales were from its joint venture with SAIC in Wuling. Cadillac, Buick, and Chevy accounted for less than 100,000 units. And it was a similar story for BMW in the third quarter. It was able to boost EV sales while its overall sales fell. BMW, including Mini, sold more than 103,000 BEVs globally in Q3, which is a 10% increase, while its overall sales totaled about 541,000 units, down 13% compared to a year ago. Meanwhile, BMW's German rival, Mercedes, also had a tough time in the third quarter. The automaker sold 594,600 cars and vans, which is down 3% from a year ago, and its BEV sales dropped 31% to about 136,000 units. Mercedes was especially hurt by slow sales in Europe and China. The Ford F-150 Lightning is going to get some more competition in Europe. Stellantis announced that it will start selling the all-electric Ram 1500 REV in Europe late next year. The Lightning is sold in Norway and Switzerland, but it's not known what markets the electric Ram will be sold in or what its price will be. The only other electric pickup on sale in Europe right now is the Maxus e-Terra 9 from China's SAIC, but it's a mid-size truck, not a full-size one. Ram already sells the 1500 in Europe, offering it with a turbo gasoline engine or with a hybrid, and Stellantis claims it's the best-selling full-size pickup in Europe, accounting for 3/4 of full-size truck sales. Toyota is coming out with an updated version of its hybrid system for big trucks and SUVs. First debuting in the refreshed Lexus LX, it's similar to the setup that came out on the new Tundra, in that an electric motor with a clutch is mounted between the engine and trans. But it also added a starter and alternator on the engine, so if the hybrid system ever fails, they act like a backup and the vehicle can keep operating. Lexus says this would be especially useful if that ever happened while off-roading. And since the LX is known for its off-road capability, engineers encase both the battery and the AC inverter in waterproof housings so the vehicle can still drive through rivers and streams. Lexus says the new LX will start rolling out late this year. Renault is trying to expand the market for the Twizy, the small two-seat electric, actually classified as a quadricycle in Europe, will now be offered under Renault's mobility brand Mobilize. The standard version that you already know will be called the Duo, while another version with a small storage system on the back will be sold as the Bento. The models will be sold to both retail and business customers through Renault's dealer network, and they can be ordered as early as next week. Speaking of Renault, Dacia, its brand known for small affordable cars, is adding bigger, more upscale vehicles to its lineup. The first is a C-segment SUV called the Bigster. While it didn't say exactly what powers the model, there will be hybrid setups, and it will have a version with 4x4 capability. The interior is highlighted by a 10.1-inch center touchscreen and a digital instrument cluster. No word when the Bigster will launch just yet, but it will be followed by 2 other vehicles. And before we go, don't forget to tune in to Autoline After Hours later today. We'll be talking about things like GM killing off the Ultium brand name and making our predictions for the Tesla Robotaxi event tonight. So, don't miss the action at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. But that is it for today's show. I hope to see you later.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility. And by ZF.
Hi, I'm Don Hatfield from Intrepid Control Systems, and I'm presenting the wireless BMS solution from Intrepid Control Systems. Come and see us and this demo at booth 1201 at the battery show. And also Analog Devices will be there as well. We'd be happy to talk to you and help you with your solution.
Knowing that a little rain won't slow down your day, that's what really matters. Bridgestone Turanza Quiet Track tires, confident control in wet conditions.